Welcome in to Benzy's Bit, episode number 15. My name is Matt Benz. I appreciate you guys joining me today, listening to me live on either the Twist page, RTF Sports Network's Facebook page, otherwise listening to me Friday at 1 p.m. Central on rtfsportsnetwork.com. Got a great show for you today. First and foremost, we are going to break down some of my value picks in your upcoming fantasy football drafts. Since I have had a couple already, they've been exciting, full of ups and downs. Love fantasy football in of itself. So that's what my breakdown is going to be about today. It's going to be value picks. And then we're going to go into, of course, the baller of the week, the bonehead of the week, and then catch you up on some of the buzz around the nation. So let's get into it. First and foremost, the breakdowns. Value picks are huge in any fantasy football draft. Trying to get the best value is the key and the name of the game. This year, it's a little bit more interesting because you have so many hyped rookies. From Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I picked in one of my dynasty leagues. You can go all the way through. You've got Jalen Reagor, Jerry Jeudy, even Justin Jefferson, a bunch of names that are being thrust into high positions in the depth chart of the team that they're on and expected to produce right away. And the hype could be real, and there's plenty of busts that will happen. But today I'm not going to really talk much about rookies. I'm going to more dip into the wily old veterans and some other guys that I feel like will produce way more value than their average draft position. You'll hear me mention ADP a lot, and for those of you new to fantasy or just not as involved, ADP, once again, is average draft position. So starting out, we're going to deal with some QBs. First and foremost, you've got Matthew Stafford. Great first name, since my name is Matthew. His current ADP is in the 10th round and the 3rd pick. Now, nobody was more impressive and less hyped than Matthew Stafford last year. Arguably his best stretch ever, Stafford was lighting it up before his injury. With Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, and Hawkinson available around the end zone, you should see a 30-plus touchdown season from a healthy Stafford coming up. I think that means a lot for him, especially in the 10th round. A lot of guys are taking quarterbacks early, and that's perfectly fine if you are. If you want your guy as your team's quarterback, I completely understand that. But for a guy like Stafford and the consistent production that he puts up to be available in the 10th round, that's extreme value if you want to wait or if you want a solid backup quarterback for your team. Next, even later ADP is going to be Jared Goff. His current average draft position is 13th round, 3rd pick. Jared Goff passed the football 626 times in 2019, yet only ended up with 22 passing touchdowns, a year after putting up 32 in the Rams offense. Goff could surprise in 2020, utilizing star wideouts Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, and upside tight ends Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee. Also, keep into account if Cam Akers becomes a viable option out of the backfield, Jared Goff's value goes through the roof. I know that without the Todd Gurley, and I mean, some would say Todd Gurley was still viable last season, but he still wasn't the Todd Gurley fantasy owners knew in the past. If you bring something like that back, the Rams could be sneaky. I feel like Goff has great value just because I have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods getting very much a lot of targets and a lot of receptions this season. So Goff comes in my value picks as well. Into the running backs, I have Mark Ingram. His average draft position is 4th round, 10th pick. Now, I understand with the selection of J.K. Dobbins by the Baltimore Ravens and Ingram crossing the 30-year-old mark, many are devaluing him after a monster year in 2019. Now, devaluing Mark Ingram comes to no surprise to anybody in fantasy football. Each season, Mark Ingram is always devalued, even when he was the backup in for the Saints. He still got work. He still got goal line reps. He still gets touchdowns year in and year out. The Ravens are the most run-heavy offense in football. And while Dobbins may represent the future in Baltimore, the present belongs to the ever undervalued and ever efficient Mark Ingram. Next, this is a shout out to Mike Reeves. My next running back is Ronald Jones. Great value pick. His average draft position right now is the 5th round, 9th pick. Now, Bruce Arians is notoriously difficult on rookies, and while Keyshawn Vaughn finds himself footing and working to avoid pass protection mistakes, Jones is the incumbent and showed both productivity and burst in stretches last year. He's not a long-term play, but as a late round pick, he could help earn you a few early wins. Another value pick is going to be Kareem Hunt. Average draft position is 5th round, 5th pick. Hunt had an immediate impact on the Browns offense after returning from his 8-game suspension. He didn't look rusty at all and became a target machine, soaking up 44 targets in just 8 games last year. Hunt is unquestionably the top backup running back in the league and instantly becomes a top 15 play if Nick Chubb has to miss any time. Into the wide receivers, I have DJ Chark. I had DJ Chark last year in one of my auction leagues. He helped me go from a dog crap team to being an average team, which in that league is very tough in of itself. So I was very blessed to have DJ Chark last year. I think you will see more of the Chark that put up the 6 top 20 performances in the first 9 games of last season. I look to him to be a huge value this season, even on a crappy team such as the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a top 5 receiver in the first half of last season, and things cooled with constant QB transitions and an injury as well. So look for DJ Chark. I've been seeing him going very late compared to other wide receiver ones. Next, I have Allen Lazard. A Green Bay Packer, has made the value list. His average draft position is the 12th round, 3rd pick. I have been picking him up in many leagues. Anyone that is a clear-cut wide receiver 2 with Aaron Rodgers as a QB should produce great value. After earning Rodgers' trust last season, he should see a high amount of targets and be a PPR hidden gem. At least I'm hoping so. Next, the fossil, Deshaun Jackson. Average draft position is the 11th round, 9th pick. And while Jalen Reagor steals all the headlines in Philly, Deshaun Jackson quietly maintains his starting spot in the Eagles offense. Jackson showed in his only game last season just how explosive he still is. That's the big thing as well. Only game last season. Let's see what Deshaun can do, and hopefully he plays more than 1 game. Next, I have Marvin Jones. I talked about Stafford above, and now I'm going to drop a little knowledge about Marvin Jones. His ADP is the 8th round, 9th pick. Lost in the shadows of Kenny Galladay, Jones continues to ho-hum his way to productivity each and every year. He has a nose for the end zone, and if Matthew Stafford and company can stay healthy, he'll be a high value. And now my only tight end value that I've noticed so far, besides Blake Jarwin, which I don't want to bring up because then I'm bringing up almost every pick that Mike Reeves has on his dynasty team. So I'm going to skip Blake Jarwin, and I'm going to go to Chris Herndon. His average draft position is 13th round, 12th pick. He has a world of potential, a pile of bumps in the road, yet a clear opportunity in front of him. Boasting one of the thinnest wide receiver cores in football, the Jets and Sam Darnold will turn to Herndon early and often in 2020. And if he can stay out of trouble and on the field, he'll return a great value from the end of drafts. So that is Benzy's values of the year. Get in on that. Let's go into ballers and start with the baller of the week. And he's a baseballer. Lucas Giolito, the White Sox pitcher, threw the season's first no-hitter last night, shutting out the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0 on 101 pitches. Giolito said, "I knew it was working after the first inning. It just kept building and building. After the 6th inning was when I really started to notice what was going on. After the 7th, I was like, I got 6 outs. We're going to make this happen. The no-hitter was the first without fans in the stands. The previous lowest attendance for a no-hitter was 500 fans on August 4th, 1884. Not 19, 1884. That is crazy stat. I love that. It's really interesting. You know, in the past, obviously there's fans in the stands for baseball, and you can just feel that energy. And the fans don't know whether to cheer or to just stay quiet because they don't want to jinx the no-no that's about to happen. And to see a no-no happen without fans in the stands and that piped-in crowd noise, and then after the game, all the guys swarming the mound but still trying to like social distance and awkward as hell, but he did it, you know. And it's unfortunate because Kenta Maeda for the Twins almost did, and I know almost only counts in horseshoes and hand, still be an AL Central pitcher, and to see how strong AL Central pitching has been, at least starting pitching, is pretty impressive. So good for him. He earned the Baller of the Week. Next, we're going to go into the Bonehead of the Week, and that is Marcus Morris for the LA Clippers. LA Clippers forward Marcus Morris adamantly denied that he intentionally stepped on Luka Doncic's sprained left ankle during Tuesday night's Game 5. After a made basket by the Clippers early in the third quarter, Marcus jogged from the left wing toward Doncic, who was awaiting an inbound pass. Morris' left foot landed on the back of Doncic's left foot, knocking Luka's shoe off. Luka says, I don't want to talk to him. He's just saying a lot of bad stuff to me all game. I just don't want to talk to him. I just want to move on. Like I say, everyone is going to have their own opinion. I just hope it wasn't intentional. If it was intentional, that's really bad. Now, I saw the clip. It's hard for me to believe that it wasn't intentional just because of the way the movements happened. Okay? It almost looked like Morris, extended farther than he needed to, which makes it look intentional. And that's dirty, you know. I understand that tensions are high, and for the Clippers to knock out a guy like Luka, it's just like Dame getting knocked out against the Lakers. Hopes are basically lost, especially since Porzingis didn't play in last game as well. So you just want to factor that in. It's dirty in of itself. And hopefully it's not true that it was intentional. On to the buzz. Breaking news here that happened earlier this morning. Bears running back David Montgomery leaves practice with a groin injury. Montgomery slipped before he took a handoff from quarterback Mitchell Trubisky and went to the ground. He got up holding his left leg and appeared to be in serious pain. Montgomery led the Bears with 889 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns in 2019, which was his rookie season. I think the first take that you need to take from this is that Mitchell Trubisky should not be QB1 because everything he touches turns to garbage. All right? Because really, you can put all the blame on him for this even happening. He handed the ball off to Montgomery. Montgomery slipped, went down, holding his left leg. Trubisky, you are cursed. I apologize. Put in Big Dick Nick Foles, and let's move on with our lives. Actually, as a Vikings fan, leave in Trubisky, even though we can't seem to beat him. Leave in Trubisky, and we'll be all right with that. I have faith. Next, Pacers fire Nate McMillan after being swept in the first round of the playoffs. The move comes after the Pacers had reworked the final year of McMillan's contract for 2021 and added a team option for 21-22 in the form of a soft extension earlier this month. In 4 seasons as the Pacers coach, McMillan had 183 wins and 136 losses, including 3-16 in the postseason. Indiana was swept in the first round in each of the 2 past seasons. That in of itself is a bummer. It really is. A team like Indiana, who is plagued constantly with injuries, And who are they to blame? It's just how it works in today's sports society. If your team makes it to the playoffs and you can't get past the first round, you usually get waxed. And is that a reflection of coaching, or is it a reflection of the franchise in of itself that you just can't take that next level up? Well, as a franchise, you would hope it has to do with the coaching, but for a franchise like the Pacers, I don't see it that way. Next, Los Angeles Angels, Albert Pujols, now second on career RBI list. Pujols passed Alex Rodriguez on the list with an RBI single in the 5th inning of Monday night's 11-4 loss to the Houston Astros. That gave him 2,087 career RBIs. Hank Aaron is the record holder with 2,297 RBIs. Now keep in mind, this asterisk, there is an asterisk next to Pujols because Babe Ruth had 2,214 career RBIs. But he isn't officially on the career list because RBIs did not become an official stat until 1920. Fun fact for Greg Bauman. On to the next one. Big Ten parents demand answers from conference on decision to postpone fall football season. Parent associations from Nebraska, Ohio State, Iowa, Penn State, and Michigan already sent separate letters to Warren demanding greater transparency concerning the August 11th postponement. Warren, on August 19th, released an open letter further explaining the decision, which was based on the health concerns related to the coronavirus pandemic. The hashtag Big Parents United group writes that it is extremely disappointing with Warren's response. The letter demands that the Big Ten produces documents, video records, communications, and minutes of the meetings relating to the postponement decision. I think as a whole right now, Big Ten realized that they may have jumped the gun. They may have thought that if they pulled out, everyone would pull out, and they need to realize that it's a humbling experience when you have all of these children, because they are still children, young men, we'll call them young men, and now their parents are having to speak up on their behalf. That's an interesting take. You know, I was watching the Four Letter Network, ESPN, and they were just talking with a father of one of the players from Ohio State. And the father was basically like, you know, I'm not doing this for my son because he should have already been in the draft last year, but we decided to play another year. He should have been a first-round pick last year and would have been a first-round pick. Typical arrogance for an Ohio State football dad. But it is just that he's stating that he's doing it for the whole of Big Ten football and those players that are sitting out and going to be watching other young men play football this fall. It's very interesting, and it's an ongoing thing to see how that will transpire. But really, what is the Big Ten going to do? I mean, they're great at sweeping issues under the rug, and I see them doing that most likely. So that is the buzz of the week. So once again, just to talk a little bit about what we do here at Twist and at RTF Sports Network. I am a brother show, we'll call it, of Twist, the Week in Sports Talk. Twist is live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And this week we've got a great show. We actually have Lavelle E. Neal III, who has been a beat writer for the Minnesota Twins for years. He's actually going to join us in studio, which is super exciting, and I can't wait for that. But once again, you can catch all of our past shows at twistsportstalk.com. Make sure you go there, check us out, all of those fun things. Also, make sure that you're going to rtfsportsnetwork.com and subscribing to that and checking out all of those shows that are running constantly on the air. Great shows in of itself. A lot of the guys from Twist, either me, Mike Reeves, or Greg Green Bay Bauman, like to join the other podcasts on the show and see how they're doing it, but also offer our insight because we like to represent ourselves and Twist Nation on a daily basis. So once again, I appreciate you joining me this week. I hope you have a blessed rest of your week and stay well. Thanks.